Welcome to American Real Title and congratulations on the purchase of your new home. As you may be aware, your lender has sent us your loan documents. They are lengthy, usually over 100 pages. So what I'm trying to do in this video is go over some of these documents with you in advance so that we don't take 2 hours in this closing and you can go home and enjoy your new home. I will go over some of these during the closing. The settlement statement, which is your closing disclosure, your mortgage, your note, and the deed. The rest of them, we'll go over them very quickly. If you have any questions while I'm going over a document, please stop me and I will be glad to go over in detail what that document means. I will go over them now. If you pay attention, I think it will make you understand what we're doing when we actually sit down, and we'll be out of here in 30 minutes and you can go enjoy your home. So, we will start with a sign-in sheet. Everyone that's at the table has to print their name, telephone number. That is our witness list. Everyone has to do it, including people that are not signing on the loan. Privacy policies just states that we do not share any of your personal information. The warranty deed is usually signed by the seller, but we will go over this in detail to make sure that we are titling the property exactly the way that you want it titled. Then your loan documents has a borrower affidavit, which states that you understand that since the last title update, when we do our title search to make sure that the title is clear and your property is clean of any liens, that you don't have any personal knowledge of anything that could become a lien on the property. I know it sounds odd to ask a buyer this, but sometimes the buyer does have some knowledge. Maybe they've noticed construction on the property, a new pool, construction on the roof, new windows, things like that you may feel may not have been paid for in full. Tax proration agreement is an agreement letting you know that when we prorate the taxes, the credits that the seller is giving you and the credits that you're giving the seller for the taxes that were already paid, that we're using the year prior if you're closing prior to the November date of that year. And I can explain this in more detail while we're together. And then we have a premium disclosure and settlement agent certification that just states what the Florida Insurance Commission requires us to charge as a minimum for title insurance and what was charged on the closing disclosure. Most title agents are allowed to upcharge that. We don't upcharge that at all. So it'll be exactly what the minimum requirement is. Now, on your loan documents, there will be a lot of documents that I will just skip through because they are my own instructions on how to do the closing, all of their requirements for the lender and for me in order to do this properly. Now, the closing disclosure is something that I will go over with you in detail. That has all of your numbers, basically everything that you have paid for in closing. All of your closing fees, the lender fees, recording fees, your escrow deposits, everything will be explained on here. This document will also tell you the amount of your loan, your interest rate, and what your payment will be for the next year. And again, this will be a document that I will go in detail with you. The note is the most important document within all of these, and that is your promise to pay the bank what you're actually borrowing from them. So that is very important. We will go over it. Usually just the first page is customized to your loan, and that's what we will go over just to make sure that the loan amount is correct and that your interest rate is correct as well. Usually in the loan package there will be temporary payment coupons so that if you don't get your payment stub in the mail prior to your first payment being due, then you can use this in order to send your payment in. I will make sure that once we get copies of all of these after you've signed, I put this in front of the packet so that you're not shuffling through all of the papers to go through it to find out how you're gonna make your payment. There is an amortization schedule. This is what I tell people that it's the nightmare you don't want to look at. Usually it's 5 to 10 pages, and it explains what happens, a breakdown of all of your payments for the life of your loan. What goes to principal, what goes to interest, and it changes every payment. And this has a calculation of every single payment throughout the life of your loan. If it's 30 years, you can imagine you have 360 payments here. We'll go over your mortgage. Your mortgage, most people think that is your most important document within these, but it is not. The mortgage is your public document that gets recorded in order for the public to know that you have a lien on this property. This mortgage will have your name. We will go over it to make sure that your name is correct. It will have the amount that you are borrowing, and the rest of the information are all legal information, sort of, for example, you have to keep homeowners insurance on the property. If you are managing your homeowners insurance, even if your lender has an escrow account. You will maintain the property. You will not let any code violations go against the property. You will, let's assume you have a claim in your insurance company. The insurance company sends you a check. You are required to make those repairs. You're required to pay your taxes, regardless of whether they're escrowing your tax amounts or not. You have to make sure that those are paid every year. So if the lender forgets, that's something that's your responsibility to make sure it happens. So basically, the mortgage just has all of the legal, standings on what happens with your mortgage and what you're expected to do. Essentially, you pay your mortgage and you keep your home. If you don't pay your mortgage, they will foreclose on you. So those are the main issues in your mortgage. Again, that mortgage is usually, 10 to 15 pages. And we'll go over them quickly. Some of them will require you to initial every page. Some of them won't, but we'll go over that once we're together. There will also be acknowledgments regarding whether your home is in a flood zone or it isn't in a flood zone. If it is in a flood zone, the lender will require you to have flood insurance. Most properties don't require that, but if they do, we'll go over that as well. Borrower certification and authorizations. There will be a lot of certifications and authorizations that you're going to sign. Some of them will be authorization for them to verify your Social Security number with the Social Security Administration, for them to also verify your Social Security number with the IRS. You will be authorizing them with signing a 4506T, them getting documents from the IRS, all of your filings for the last few years. Some of these things you've already signed prior to getting to the table. They're part of you getting approved for the loan, but the lender requires you to sign these at closing again because they like them to have a wet signature, which is what they call it. So you will be signing a lot of authorizations and certifications. Again, you've already signed most of these. You will be signing documents that state that you were not steered one way or another in picking your title company, your agents, and your insurance company. You will also be signing a document stating that we will be providing a lender insurance to the lender, which you are paying for because you are obtaining the loan. But that lender's policy will only cover the lender and the loan, not you. The owner's policy that we're providing you will cover your interest in the property. But that's one of the documents you'll be signing. Some of the lenders will have you sign a document stating that you understand that some of their files get picked up for quality control later on, and they will re-verify information. So they may call your employer and verify that you're still working there. There will be credit reports within your loan packages. Some of them have to be signed, some of them don't. If they don't, we'll just skip through them. There will be notices to the buyer regarding inspections. So they suggest that you get an inspection. I'm hoping that you got one. If not, we're going to go on to closing, assuming that you've gone through your inspection period and decided not to do so. There will be, I mentioned the flood zone information. There is a form that specifies that although you are not in a flood zone today, assuming you're not in one, that if FEMA changes the maps and you end up in a flood zone, that they will require you to get flood insurance. So that's something that you will be signing. All lenders have that. Some of the lenders will ask you to sign a correction and a limited power of attorney agreement. What that means is that sometimes a lender makes a mistake on the documents, and instead of having you come back in to sign some of those documents, you're giving them a limited power of attorney to make some small changes for you. None of those changes include numbers, payments, interest, or the amount of your loan. They are not allowed to make any changes regarding those things. But let's say they get the county incorrect on one of the documents and they need to change it, they will make the changes themselves without having you re-sign the document. So that will be something that you will be signing, authorizing them to make those small corrections. You will be signing a document stating that you understand the condition of the property and that you're accepting the property as is, and you will not make the lender responsible for anything that may happen after closing. There will be a contact information sheet. They also always want to know where you're going to be receiving your mail. Let's say you don't want your mail going to your home, you want it to go to your office, then that will be a place where we can fill out that information. I mentioned the 4506T. That is a tax document that you've already signed prior to getting approved for the loan, but they'll have you re-sign it. And if there are more than one person on the loan, both people will be signing all of these forms. So this will double up. As you can imagine, this is gonna take time if we don't go over them this way. They usually will give you a disclosure, giving you information as to the differences between your loan and other loans. It's just a general description of what a conventional loan is against an FHA loan. That's something that you'll have to sign as well. Let's see, we talked about Social Security Administration authorization. And like I am passing over some of these documents, that's what I will be doing as well in our closing, because some of these are just releases and consents for me. There will be a form, and not every lender has this, but some lenders, they work with other companies, and some of them are life insurance companies, home insurance companies, mortgage insurance companies, and you'll start getting a lot of mail. If you don't want to receive mail from the people that they work with, and you need to contact your lender and let them know that you no longer wish to receive that information, they do actually, during the documents, have you sign saying that you authorize them to give that information to them. So then you have, some lenders will allow you to exclude yourself from that in the documents. Most of them don't. So I'm just letting you know that ahead of time. We talked about the W-9. You've already signed this with your lender prior to closing. That the W-9 is just you giving them authorization to verify your Social Security number with the IRS. Signature name affidavit. It's a funny one to explain. Basically, after you've signed everything, they put it at the end of your package, and they just want you to verify that your signature is your signature, and they want you to sign it again. And that's for everybody on the loan. Then there is the loan application. The loan application, they call it a 1003 if you've heard your lender talk about it. What it is all of the information that you've given the lender in order to qualify for this loan. So all of your debts, liabilities, your income, where you work, how long you've worked, where you've lived, how long you've lived there. All of that information goes into this one application that you have to sign. This application gets signed in 3 different spots, and we'll go over that as well. We have, towards the end, that you always add your homeowner's insurance documents. Usually you have a copy of that, but if not, we will make a copy of them for you. And at the very end, it's usually something for me where I verify that you are who you are, usually by the copy that I've received from you of your driver's license prior to sitting down with you. And after all of this is signed, you have closed your loan and you may go home and enjoy your new home and start painting and doing all the things that you want to do. And instead of keeping you here for 2 hours, this will have gone over most of it. If you have any questions while we're sitting down, obviously stop me, but I will go over those 4 documents that I mentioned earlier, and the rest will just sign and be done with it. Thank you so much.